Hey YouTube, Kiratui here, bringing you all my Subterror Yugioh deck profile for June 2024. Been wanting to update this control playstyle deck that focuses on the flip summon of your many different Subterror monsters. I say many, but you really do not run that many monsters in this deck, since it is what I said before, a control style deck focusing on the flip effects of the few, I say would be the better word for it, Subterror monsters you run, along with the trap lineup to either flip up those Subterror monsters, set up more of them on the field, or just use the many different traps to stop a good variety of your opponent's plays. Very happy with the updates to the deck. Been testing out some of the different numbers for cards I would run with some of the other lineup and some of the other newer cards. I would say that weren't direct Subterror support, but definitely cards that helped with the added support for the deck. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. Our best monster in the deck is Subterror Guru, running 3 copies of this card. Its flip effect is you can add 1 Subterror card from your deck to your hand. So just being able to add a Subterror card and not just a Subterror monster opens up a wide variety of different cards we may want to run in our deck and adding them to our hand, except for Subterror Guru itself. And you can target one other face-up monster on the field, change that monster and also this card to face-down defense position. This is a quick effect if you control another Subterror card. You can only use each effect of Subterror Guru once per turn. So just needing to control another Subterror card means you can have cards like our card Subterror Final Battle as added setup to then chain with Subterror Guru when you activate this card, because then it sets back on the field again as well. Just needing to control that face-up card while you control your Guru to then be able to flip that card face down. Our other Subterror monsters include the 2 copies of Subterror Fiendus that I also run. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, target 1 Subterror monster you control, negate the activation, then change that targeted monster to face down defense position, resetting up cards like our Guru while also being able to negate the effect of our opponent's activated card or effect. And then also you can target a face up monster you control with that defense and then change it to special summon 1 Subterror monster from your hand or graveyard in face up or face down defense position, giving us more resource for our other Subterror monsters which we run, which are just one-ofs for some of our bigger boss monster Subterror monsters, including the 1 Subterror Umastrix. With its flip effect, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls and banish it. You can only use this effect of Behemoth Umastrix once per turn. When a face-up monster you control is flip face down, if you control no face-up monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense. You can only use this effect once per turn, and once per turn you can chase this card down to face down defense position as well. So if you have just your Subterror Guru on the field and you flip it face down, you can then have your Umastrix be summoned as well from your hand, since it's the only monster you control and you control no other face-up monsters, to be able to then just special summon this card from your hand in defense, and then you'll be able to use the effect to flip it face down. And then also the 1 copy of Subterror Behemoth Stalagmo. With this one, you can discard 1 Subterror monster and draw 2 cards. So it's more of a draw power, having the same special summon setup as your Umastrix, with also 1 copy of Yugioh Kraken. With this card being able to target set cards on the field equal to the number of Subterror Behemoth monsters you control and destroy them. So if you just have the 1 Behemoth, that's 1 destruction. And most of the time, that's enough just for the flip effect of an added Subterror Behemoth monster to be able to summon out. That's it for our main deck monsters. As I said, it's a low number of monsters because the majority of the other cards we run are the trap lineup, but the spell lineup consists of a pretty good variety of search power, with our most important card in the deck being the Hidden City, running 3 copies of this field spell. When it's activated, you can add 1 Subterror monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, you can change 1 face down defense position monster Subterror you control to face up attack or defense, and once per turn, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can change 1 face down defense position Subterror monster you control to face up attack position or defense, then you can negate the attack. Having negate power, but also depending on the Subterror you flip up, you can also interrupt some of your opponent's other cards while using your other Subterror monsters as well to add Subterror cards. So cards like Guru can add these specific Behemoth monsters and then use its own effect with the flip of your other cards face down. I also run 3 copies. It's not specifically a Subterror card, but I really did like it in the playtesting, and that is Terrors in the Hidden City. With this card, your opponent cannot target face down defense position monsters you control with card effects, protecting your Guru from being destroyed by other cards. And also monsters you control that were flip face up while this card is face up on the field gain 1500 attack and defense. If this card's owner's spell and trap card zone is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can target 1 monster in your graveyard, special summon it in face down defense. It just helps with all your different plays, giving you a power-up to our weaker monsters like Guru, giving us more of a setup if it's in the graveyard and our opponent happens to destroy this card. It's why I like running multiple cards. You can try to, fake out your opponent with this card and its owner spell and trap card zone being destroyed, giving you that resource back onto the field while still providing protection, because then your opponent has really no other choice but to attack into it. They can try and destroy this card, but then they'll just activate another effect because of it. And I also run the 1 copy of Terraforming and the 1 copy of Call by the Grave. More monster disruption in the graveyard and being able to search out our hidden city from our deck to our hand. And for even more search power, because we don't really use the extra deck for much in this deck, 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity, banishing specific numbers to then grab the specifics. Because a lot of times, just opening up and grabbing our hidden city can then grab us our Subterror monster, and then we can rely on the other traps we have in our hand. And also 2 copies of Pot of Extravagance and the 2 copies of Pot of Duality. Special summons aren't really a restriction for this deck, and then just being able to have more of a draw thanks to our extract, thanks to cards like Pot of Extravagance. Now moving on now to the traps. As I said, they do take up a big number of the deck. 3 copies of Subterror Final Battle. Activate one of these effects. Also after that, set this card face down. Instead of sending it to the graveyard, you change 1 set Subterror monster on the field to face up attack position or defense. Change 1 face up to face down defense, or the attack and defense of 1 Subterror monster on the field become equal to its combined original attack and defense until the end of turn. So combining with the initial power of Terrors of the Hidden City, you can have some of your monsters hit some pretty big numbers if you need them to either swing or go for the defensive play against your opponent, because if that monster is in defense when your opponent attacks into it, you can activate Subterror Final Battle, having that monster gain its attack as its defense as well, so then it won't be destroyed by your opponent, and they'll take some pretty massive damage thanks to this trap, which will then just be set back down again also. I also run 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, just another trap spot, but still could also rely as a hand trap if your opponent does go first against you, which I would say is one of the bigger weaknesses of this deck, because it is a going first deck to rely on the setup that you can provide for all your cards set on the field. 3 copies of Solemn Judgment for more of the spell, trap, and monster negation summon for this card. And also the 3 copies of Solemn Strike for more of the special summon restriction for this card, but also the monster effect negation as well. Better cards to have set on the field as well, thanks to it. And along with Infinite Impermanence, another card I like to run is just a small number to go up against your opponent for more of the going second play is Evenly Matched, because if your opponent sets up a board, you can use Evenly Matched for more of the banish, and then go to main phase 2 and set up your field, and then go into the next turn with your opponent having less cards on the field. And then for the one-ofs, 1 copy of Goes and Match, the 1 There Can Only Be One, and the 1 Anti-Spell Fragrance. You have your spells in the deck, but you can always set them and activate them the following turn as long as you have a good trap setup with There Can Only Be One, restricting types of monsters on the field, and then the attribute of our monsters being the earth monsters that they are, really not a problem for this deck at all. And then as for the extract, a lot of times the extract is just going to be used for banished plays, but I do run still 2 Subterror Behemoth Fiendus as more of a link monster option. You need 2 flipped monsters to make it, so you could use our bigger Behemoth monsters along with Guru to make this, getting attack equal to the combined original levels of the Subterror monsters used for its link summon times 100. And during your main phase, you can send 1 flip monster from your deck to the graveyard to special summon 1 monster from your hand in face down defense to a zone this card points to, making it a way to get out our bigger Behemoth monsters by setting up other cards like Guru in the graveyard to then also potentially be summoned back thanks to our other spells in the deck if need be. And then the rest of the extract is, like I said, just a generic lineup. So the 1 copy of Anima, the 2 copies of Almirage, the 1 Nightmare Cerberus, the 1 IP Masquerena, the 2 copies of Barricade Board Blocker, because once again we are running Extravagance, so to have more banished targets with these cards. Also, the 1 Bujinki Asashima, the 1 Asa the Earth Charmer, the 1 Nightmare Unicorn, the 1 Boral Sword, along with the 1 Underworld Goddess, with our only Xyz monster being the 1 Typhoon that we also run for the overlay power. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, as I said, this is a big setup card for the deck, so just needing 1 of your Gurus can help to set up a good majority of your cards in your deck, and this can be brought on by cards like Hidden City, which can be searched by revealing the top cards of your deck, because we really don't need to special summon much if you can at least grab your Hidden City, use this card to search out your Guru, set your Guru on the field, and then have your trap lineup of choice depending on what the cards may be. If you have cards like Final Battle, then you have more of a pace to go against with your opponent to flip up your own cards as well. Having the Guru chain as well, since you'll have the Subterror Final Battle for the card still resolved on the field before it gets flipped face down again, for you then to use Guru's quick effect, controlling another Subterror card on the field to begin with also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, just a quick little update to this control variant deck that utilizes flip effect monsters in a way that we don't really see too often with the Yu-Gi-Oh playstyle. But as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.